So Sunday's deadline came and went, and negotiators from the EU and the UK are beginning now a new push to reach agreement on their future relationship after deciding to carry on trying to resolve their differences. The EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, has been updating ambassadors from the 27 EU member states in Brussels, and the president of the EU Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has been answering questions on the UK's position at a virtual OECD summit. Have a listen.
If the UK wants a seamless access to the single market, and the single market of the European Union is the largest one in the whole world, they are welcome. But they either have to play by our rules, because this is a matter of fairness for our companies in the single market, or the other choice is there's a price on it, and the price is quota and tariffs. We're on the very last mile to go. But it's an essential one, and we want a level playing field. We want a level playing field not only at the start, but also over time.
So let's take you through now these three main sticking points, which are still open, but on which we hear tentative progress is being made. Michel Barnier saying a deal could be found within days if a solution to fishing rights is found. Access to British waters is a major area of contention, but there is some suggestion that a compromise may now be found. The governance of the overall deal is being worked on in detail, but still to be agreed. How to ensure both sides keep to the agreement and what sanctions would follow if they don't. And competition regulations, a common set of rules that prevent businesses in one country getting a competitive advantage over those in others. The EU says the UK must sign up to the so-called level playing field if it wants the best possible access to the European single market. I'm joined now by Jacob Kirkegaard, who is an economist and senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund, joining me from Brussels. Jacob, let's talk about that level playing field, which is such a sticking point. It's really become an ideological standoff now. Do you see any way around it?
Well, I think what we are hearing right now is actually very good news. Yesterday, both parties had an opportunity to walk away from the negotiations. They didn't. And now we are hearing that there is some movement on the level playing field. It appears that the British government has accepted that if there is future divergence in the future, that the EU will be in a position to retaliate, and vice versa. If the EU diverges, the UK could also retaliate against the EU in the future, but that such retaliation would not be automatic, but would have to be preceded by a kind of mediation or independent arbitration. So yes, I believe there is there is progress here, and it's tangible, and it's very important. The question, though, of course, is, well, what about fish? Fish now appears to be an ironic additional sticking point, where the EU is apparently implying that, well, if the UK in the future is going to restrict access to EU vessels to coming to UK waters, well, then the EU wants the ability to retaliate against the UK on other areas, which takes us into the third issue, which is governance. So I think there is progress, but it's also very clear that all the three main sticking points that we're left with are deeply intertwined and will ultimately require a degree of compromise from all sides.
Are you now confident, though, Jacob, that there will be a deal and it could happen in time?
Well, I think the reality is that we are now at such a late stage that even if there was a deal, say tomorrow, could it be ratified in time to be, and could it, more importantly, be actually implemented in a sort of relatively seamless manner by January 1st? I think the answer to that question is unambiguously no. There's going to be a degree of chaos at the UK-EU borders come January 1st, because businesses that transact across these borders do not necessarily have full clarity about what forms and what IT systems they're going to be using. And it may even be that the actual deal, if it comes, is not ratified in time, so that you sort of have a period of time-limited no deal in early 2021 before the deal is ultimately implemented. But perhaps this is the sort of political, oil that needs to be for a deal to ultimately be agreed, namely that everybody gets burned a little bit by the, in my opinion, very negative reaction to a no-deal situation in early 2021, and therefore that's why we can agree to quickly move away from that.
Because do you believe all the negotiators involved think a no deal is disastrous economically?
I think all the negotiators believe so, but I'm not sure that all the political leaders involved may necessarily feel that way. Certainly on the UK side, there might be some who argue that, look, a clean break is what we need. It's what Brexit was all about. And in any case, since we know that there's going to be a degree of chaos on the borders, it's easier to sell that by basically saying, well, it's just because the EU were being intransigent, and so it's a blame game point. On the EU side, I think that there are clearly also leaders who might say, well, actually, maybe it's not a bad idea to go to a no deal and let the, let's have the economic consequences of that, and then let's see what happens. So that's why, we are at this political, to some extent, ideological standoff. But I don't think there's any doubt that the actual negotiators at the table, they dearly want a deal because, if nothing else, they would like to go home for Christmas as well.
Absolutely. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us. Jacob Kirkegaard joining us there.